Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is J.R. Moore coming to you live from deep in the mountains of the Missouri Ozarks. On Thursday, the 12th day of September, year of our Lord 2019, welcome to the John Moore Show. We begin these programs with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Prep tip of the day, I want to encourage all of you to make sure that your first aid and CPR training is current. First aid doesn't change much year to year, but CPR training does in fact change about every, year and a half to 2 years or so. They just went through a change about a year. Well, it's been about a year and a half. They changed it again. They keep wanting to improve it, and that's okay. Make sure you've got the necessary supplies and equipment comparable to your level of training. It'd be a shame to not have the equipment and supplies that you're qualified to use, and it could be dangerous to attempt to use equipment and supplies you're not qualified to use. So a very strong caveat there. We're going to have open lines this first half hour. Tom Berry, he'll be with us at the bottom of the hour. At the top of hour two, we'll have the John Moore Radio Show economic advisor, Mr. Steve Hunt, with us. And then at last half hour will be open lines as well. I was just at my website this morning at thelibertyman.com. And if you scroll down on my home page there, you'll see 1, 2, 3, the third row down, open source intelligence in bright red letters. Open source intelligence. Friend of mine, former counterintelligence agent, U.S. Army counterintelligence agent. He's now retired. He's got a PhD, very bright guy. He puts this together every day. Today's has not been posted yet. It will be later today. So I've got the one posted from yesterday. First was 2 articles on the economy. Then we go to America's current threat level in the U.S. is high. Then we begin a number of articles there involving things here in the United States, U.S. military especially. There's about, looks like 6 or 7 articles there. Another article about the Bernie Sanders and Marxism and how we are becoming a socialist/communist country. A couple of articles on that. Next, he goes to the section on Israel. 1, 2, 3. It looks like 5 articles there. Africa, 3 articles. Europe, 1 article. The Baltics, Estonia, 1 article. Ukraine, 2 articles. Back to the Balkans and Serbia, Kosovo, Greece, Cyprus, Turkey, 2 articles. The stands, southern, what used to be the USSR, looks like 7 articles there. Scandinavia, we don't have any today. And over the United Kingdom, it looks like 3 articles. Then we go down to southern Asia, South Asia, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran. Looks like 4 articles there. Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, 3 articles. North Korea, 1 article. China, 2 articles. Russia, 3 articles. Space Command, Cybersecurity, 3 articles. The next section, I'm not sure what this is. Looks like United Nations, 1 article. And that's just for today. Or actually, yesterday's posting, still up for today. If you're interested in what's going on in the world, geopolitical matters, this open source intelligence is updated every day, typically by noon or so. And it's a great place to come to my website, get up to speed on what you're interested in. You don't need to read all of them, obviously. You can just pick and choose the areas of the planet that you're interested in. Maybe you're interested in Israel, and you don't care what's going on in North Korea. So you can read what's going on in Israel, just as one example. I'm very happy that my friend gave me permission to publish this. He was publishing it privately to a short list of men and women he'd worked with for years, friends and associates. A short list, maybe two to 3 dozen people, not very many. Now his outreach is literally thousands of people with this very valuable work. Very valuable. I was talking to a friend last night. We've been friends since, I think, about 2001. I did a presentation on terrorism at the Missouri Athletic Club downtown St. Louis, which includes, the membership includes the former director of the CIA and other people that who you would recognize, CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, and a lot of just kind of regular guys and gals who are businessmen around St. Louis. So we met then. We became friends. We've been friends ever since. She's looking at a safe haven in Texas, in the area of Waco, Texas. Beautiful area, Waco, Texas. And I was telling her, I said, we believe we have 13 months. Now, some folks, I had this discussion with, the Common Sense Show, Dave Hodges, last week, I think it was. He's concerned we don't have 13 months. But here's why I believe that time frame is not going to change. The pieces that are in place for what's coming at us, the logistics of changing something of this magnitude are very, very difficult. Maybe a small change here and there, maybe a day or two, even a week or two. But to change what's put in place involving the Russians, the Chinese, all the countries south of our border, I repeat, all of the countries south of our border. Do I need to say it again? All the countries south of our border. And other entities, the Muslim terrorists, for example. These plans involve very difficult organizing, the logistics, the training, the supplies, the equipment. Everything is being focused, we believe, the men I'm working with, immediately following the 2020 election, which is 13 months away. That's our belief. Now, it's been said that once our opposition, which I'm calling the Socialist, Communist, Democrats, Muslims, once our opposition finds out they can't win at the ballot box, which they already know that, of course they do. Donald Trump's going to be easily, I don't know about easy, but he will be reelected. Of course he will be. That they'll move forward their timetable. They may desire to do that, but I don't believe they can. I've been involved in complex missions involving, at least up to 600 men with the 6th Special Forces Group at Fort Bragg. I was involved with the planning and execution of several missions with those guys, and it's difficult. Now, this is a paid professional U.S. military organization. That's what we were. The 6th Group no longer exists, by the way. And so I know firsthand what it takes to get 600 men to do something 6 months, 12 months out. Typically, these bigger missions were planned about a year in advance. And that's compared to what we're looking at 13 months from now, that's tiny, it's small. 600 men is a small outfit. And we had everything we needed. And we had no opposition to what we were doing. These are training missions. So I can extrapolate from that experience to what it would take to organize tens of thousands of men, more likely hundreds of thousands of men, for an operation to take down this country. It's massive. It's huge. It's mind-boggling, the kind of planning that goes into something like this, the strategy involved, logistics involved, the training involved, the pre-positioning of supplies, equipment, weapons, all of which is taking place, all of which has a timetable. Now, we might be completely wrong. We, being myself and the men I'm working with, we may be completely wrong, and we have to keep that as a caveat, don't we? We may find out 14 months from now that it was all just a big story. I hope that, quite frankly, I really do hope that's true. We had a caller on hold here. We had Kyle in Montana. Good morning, Kyle.
Good morning, John. Yesterday I was listening to the news at the gym where I work out, and President Trump was in a news conference, and he was saying that they're working on gun legislation to integrate medical and background checks together. Well, if he does that, I can guarantee you he will not be reelected, because even the Republican senators that are saying, we're trying to protect the Second Amendment, every time something comes out of their mouth like that, what they're doing is infringing. Nobody seems to understand the definition of shall not be infringed. That means you shall not touch it. You'd leave it alone. And if he does this, I think he's getting some really, really bad advice. And if he does do it, I can just about guarantee you. I know guys that literally, John, this is true. It's not that they won't vote against him. They'll never vote for a Democrat. But they just won't vote.
Exactly. Well, here's the caveat to what you're saying. And when he says integrating mental health issues with background checks, if he doesn't change the status of background checks from what it is now, only incorporates the current background checks for buying new firearms from, or buying firearms from dealers, I should say, that's probably not going to hurt his base. However, if he goes to what the Democrats want, which is expanding background checks to every sale, including private sales, and here's the example I use, Kyle, for you already know this, but for our listeners. Let's say John Moore wants to loan Kyle a .22 rifle to shoot 10 cans tomorrow. Under the new background check rules, you would have to go to a federal licensed dealer first and pass a background check and pay money for that to borrow my .22 caliber rifle to shoot 10 cans tomorrow. And then when it came time for you to give it back to me when you're done shooting 10 cans, I would also have to go to another federal firearms license dealer and pay another fee and go through another background check to get my own rifle back. That's what the Democrats want. And I'm pretty sure President Trump is not going to go along with that kind of expansion of background checks. You're not old enough, Kyle, to remember, but I do. The period 1969-1970, nationwide, we shut down the insane asylums. Nationwide, the thought at the time was, we can save all this money. We will prescribe pharmaceutical products to these people, give them a monthly stipend, a monthly check, and cut them loose, and everything will be fine. Well, everything hasn't been fine. That instantly created a nationwide homeless problem, instantly, that we've been dealing with now for half a century, and also put people on the streets that would harm others that 50 years ago would have been locked up so they couldn't hurt anybody. We need to go back to what works, what had worked for many, many decades, centuries, which is locking up people who can hurt people. That's what works. There's nothing new about AR-15s. They've been sold to the public now for more than half a century. AR-15's been around a really, really long time. There's nothing new about the firearms or the magazine capacity or the ability to shoot a lot of targets in a very fast manner. So you look at what's the same, Kyle, and look at what's different. The weapons haven't changed. What's changed is our mental health programs and mental health system. I'm pretty sure President Trump recognizes this. He also recognizes that he will alienate his base if he goes to what the Democrats want, which is a background check on every sale of every firearm, every transfer. And me loaning you my .22 rifle is a transfer legally under a new law requiring background checks on every transfer. I don't believe he's going to do that, Kyle. I really don't. Your response?
Well, I hope not, John, because I've supported President Trump from the beginning. I really do. I think the man is up against the mountain. You know what I mean? And he's trying to
listen
push
to
it
his
by
statements.
himself.
Listen to his statements. It's been about 3 days ago, maybe 4. He said the following. I'm paraphrasing, enhanced background checks would not have stopped any of these mass shootings. So he's already going down that road of agreeing with what you're saying and what I'm saying is enhanced background checks won't accomplish any enhanced public safety. He knows that. He understands it. He's a smart guy. He doesn't want to alienate his base. If he goes along with universal background checks, he's not going to convince Democrats or anti-gun people to vote for him, but it will alienate his base. So it's a lose-lose situation for him politically, and I really don't believe he's going to do it, Kyle.
All right. Well, I'll tell you, there was a speech given, I think it's like 7 minutes long, on the floor of the House, I think it was, where this ex-Green Beret, I think he was a Green Beret or Army Ranger or something. Anyway, he's a congressman now, I think. And anyway, it's like 7 minutes long, and boy, he really got after the Democrats. It's one of the best 7-minute concise speeches I ever heard. And he basically said the same. He basically said this, that, you know, the Democrats on the other side of the aisle, they're not going to stop with just one little law to ban anything. The idea is here to get rid of all guns because that's the only chance they have of taking
Kyle,
this country.
If you can find that speech and send it to me by email, I'd like to see it here.
All right, I'll try, sir.
Okay. We got a break. We'll be right back.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Thursday, the 12th of September. My website is thelibertyman.com. We're going on a cruise. Leon Green's going with us. Sam and his wife have not made a commitment yet. Sam Andrews, my Monday guest here on my radio show, Firearms Monday. He really wants to go. It's dependent on his wife's work schedule, but we're hoping he works that out. We're leaving Florida the 9th of February. That's a Saturday, returning a week later, the 16th. It will be fun. It will be romantic because Valentine's Day is right in the middle of it. Got some beautiful images there of couples enjoying themselves on a cruise, dancing and having dinner, sunset dinner, and so forth. So get the details there at my website at thelibertyman.com. I hope you can join us. If you don't have internet access and you want a nice full-color brochure, give our cruise director, Betsy Murphy, a call. This is what Betsy does this is her occupation. She's a cruise director. What a job. 636-530-9502. I say again, 636-530-9502. 13 months. Listen to what we're saying here. You scroll down my website there where it says Red Dawn in bright red letters right in the middle there. We've got 2 interviews there. Interview with my friend Jeff Nyquist on the 22nd of May. A follow-up interview the following day with my friend Command Sergeant Major Dan Page. I hope that those 2 interviews will alert you to what I'm talking about, to the veracity of what I'm talking about, to the urgency of what I'm talking about. I'm working with government officials on this matter. This is not just some radio talk show host blowing smoke here. There are government officials alert to this. When I was in Washington, D.C. 4 weeks ago, I spent half an hour with a woman who's connected to people, loosely connected, shall I say, to the White House. She knew what I was talking about. She knew. Now you know. Now it's your choice. You might want to study up on them some more. Jeff Nyquist has some excellent material at his website, his books, if you want to understand the true nature of the communist conspiracy to conquer the world. They have to conquer the United States to conquer the world. Once they have the United States taken down, everything else falls into place. They know that. I know it. And now you know it. 13 months will fly by. I was in St. Louis taking care of my wife as her full-time caregiver for a year and a half. I tell the people out here, I said, look how fast that went, that year and a half that I was gone. 13 months will be so fast, make your head spin. What do you need to do between now and then? Well, first you need to educate yourself about the truthfulness of this. Once you've convinced yourself, then you need a plan. You do not, I repeat, you do not want to be in an urban, suburban area when this goes down. You really, really don't want to be in an urban, suburban area when this goes down. You want to be in a safe haven. If your only concern is about civil disorder, you don't necessarily need to be in the Arkansas, Missouri Ozarks. There's plenty of safe havens that will do all over the country during this kind of crisis, this kind of scenario. 50 to 100 miles away from a major metropolitan area would be a good rule of thumb. Preferably a place that's fairly self-sufficient, where men and women grow their own food and they go hunting and fishing, and they know what's important in life, which is not professional sports and Dancing with the Stars or the latest episode of NCIS. They know what's important. Family, church, their community. Out here where I live in Steelville, Missouri, I watch people stand in the rain for an hour waiting for the funeral procession of a veteran who was killed in action to come by. Now that's my community. I don't know about yours, but the main street was lined up shoulder to shoulder with people for an hour waiting in the rain for this funeral procession to come by. Now, that's my community. I don't know what happens in your community when one of these guys or gals is killed in Iraq or Afghanistan, but that's what happens in Steelville, Missouri. That's the kind of community you want to be in, where people know each other, they love each other, they trust each other, they will take care of each other. I hear all these stories about bad actions of police. Well, if you went to high school with the local cops, they're not very likely to cause you harm. And that's the way it is in small communities all over this country. People know each other. They went to school together. They're related by blood and marriage. That's the nature of small communities and how they're put together. And in time of crisis, they will take care of each other. Here's our bottom of the hour break. We'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We have a special promotion going on at Republic Broadcasting. This is a fundraiser for Republic Broadcasting involving the Energy Cleaner. Mail me a postcard. My address is at my website at thelibertyman.com. We pick a postcard every other Thursday. When your postcard is drawn out, you get to buy an energy cleaner for $215 instead of $285, $70 discount. $200 goes to Republic Broadcasting. You also get a 10% discount on my mattress pads. So get those postcards in, put your name, your telephone number, your email address on there, and when your postcard is drawn, you get to get an energy cleaner for $215 instead of $285. Mattress pads, 10% off. Help us out at Republic Broadcasting and help yourself to get an energy cleaner at a deep discount. It's a win-win situation for everybody. We hope you can get these postcards in soon. Thank you very much. All right, we're back, gentlemen. J.R. Moore here on Thursday. It is Thursday, the 12th of September. We take 24 minutes a week, not very much time, to talk about a product that's literally helped many thousands of people get their lives back. Seriously. That's a pretty big deal. That wonderful, marvelous healing device is called the Energy Cleaner. We begin these conversations with my friend Tom Berryhill, the manufacturer of the Energy Cleaner, giving us our disclaimer. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, John. We're not doctors or medical professionals. We don't diagnose, treat, or cure any illness or disease. The information discussed today is for your education and entertainment only. If you have a medical condition requiring treatment, you should utilize the services of a medical doctor, chiropractor, or other competent practitioner.
Absolutely. Well, Tom, our quest to save America one energy cleaner at a time continues to move forward to help make America great, one person at a time, continues to move forward. You know, You know, Tom, I think, have you been to the little country post office here at Cherryville? I'm not sure you have. You know, I knew you've driven past it.
I've driven past it, John, but I've never been inside.
Well, they're celebrating year 100 of being a business there, and the first building, I was told, the first building in Crawford County to have an elevator, which I don't believe is in service anymore. And it's a little country store. They have a restaurant, convenience store, post office in one corner. And every time I put a box on the counter of the post office and set it down, I think, here's one for the good guys. Here's an energy cleaner that's going out to help an individual or a couple get their lives back, have more strength, more energy to do the things that need to be done for themselves, their family, their community, and for our country. Every person we make stronger, Tom, makes the entire country stronger, doesn't it?
Well, that's really true, John, and just some of the articles I read about troubles that people are having with the medical establishment, just trying to get help and pain issues that can't be resolved. And then here we are with this energy cleaner technology. It could help so many of these people. It's just getting the information to them. And then many times, John, you've experienced this, I'm sure, they just don't want to believe it. And I've had so many people tell me they have the best insurance and the best doctors money can buy, and they're going to go that direction. I just wish them all the luck.
Well, and that's what it's going to take is luck. Well, there's a term that I heard decades ago. The term is medical mystique. In our country, we place medical doctors on an elevated status in our communities, how we feel about them personally, elevated status that we trust them to have knowledge that we don't have, to have information we don't have, to offer us wonderful, marvelous pharmaceutical products that will help us get our health back, which is, quite frankly, in my opinion, a fantasy, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. You know, John, we had our conversation last night at the restaurant, just looking around at how people can barely walk and just barely making it from day to day. I'm just really wondering what the future is for this country.
Well, 8 out of 10 men and women between 18 and I think it's 24, 25, the age that they would typically go into the military, 8 out of 10 are not qualified because they're either too fat or too dumb or too drugged up or too many criminal convictions or a combination of the four. That's our future. That's our future. Now, the 20%, now, keeping in mind, the standards have been reduced from when I was in the military for physical fitness, for example. So we're only getting 8 out of 10 with reduced standards. If we had the same standards as when I was in the military, it may be 9 out of 10. I don't know what it would be, but it would be even less. And point being, that's our future. Now, we got men and women. I know our demographics. Most of our listeners are Caucasians over age 50. That's the majority of our listeners. There's exceptions, and there's some great exceptions. But you guys and gals out there, you have children, you have grandchildren. They have you want your children, you want your grandchildren to have a bright and sunny future ahead of them, a prosperous, healthy, productive future ahead of them. And an energy cleaner can and should be part of that bright and sunny, happy, healthy, productive future, along with a reasonable amount of exercise, a good diet, clean water that has no sodium fluoride in it. All those things combined to help people achieve their goals, doesn't it, Tom?
Yeah, that's really true. After that conversation last night, I thought about it all the way home, John, and it just doesn't cease to amaze me with just how little people care about their health nowadays. Drinking, smoking, overeating, just across the board.
But Tom,
and then they wonder.
Let me be a devil's advocate. But Tom, if something goes wrong, my doctor will give me a pill to make it go away. We got a caller on hold here. We got a caller on hold. We got John in Texas. Good morning, John.
Hello. I have I've read some commentaries by at least one person that these shootings that are going on are not just are not random acts by mentally ill persons, but that they are in fact being done by orchestrated behind the scenes, and they're using mind-controlled
John, what does that have to do with
drones.
The energy cleaner? John, what does that have to do with the energy cleaner?
The energy... Oh, you're calling it...
You're not listening to the radio show.
You were talking about it.
You're just calling in randomly. You don't even know what we're talking about, sir, do you?
Well, I know that was in your earlier comments when I first tuned in.
Right. Well, we're off topic, and you're welcome to call another time, John. Thank you very much. Okay, Tom. Well, it's the example that you point out, and I point out also. Go to your local Walmart, preferably one of the big superstores that are these massive new Walmarts they've got, and just sit on a bench. Just sit there, 15 minutes, and watch people walk by. You rarely see anybody over age 30 that's height, weight proportionate. And even between, from teenagers to young adults, I would say less than half are height, weight proportionate. More than half of the adults walking past you do not have a sunny disposition. They do not have what I would call a normal gait. They simply don't look healthy. They don't. And that's when you're at Walmart. Walmart's a good example because that's a cross section of America right there. Young, old, rich, poor. Everybody goes to Walmart. There's exceptions that don't go, obviously, for political reasons, and I respect that. But in general, it's a cross section of Americana, from toddlers to older folks, and it's not very encouraging, is it, Tom?
No, it's not, and that was some of our conversation last night. It's just, I'm just in awe of the whole situation, John. Every time I do go to the local Walmart, it's quite an experience, and so many of those people could probably get help by using the energy cleaner. So many people are on those carts. They have to drive around on a cart in the store. They can't even walk anymore, and they have pain issues. I hear them talking about it.
And these are the people you can see. Now, I go to the chiefs meeting here in my county. We have a chiefs meeting every 2 months. Fire chiefs, paramedic chiefs, police chiefs, the sheriff's department. And about once a quarter, the paramedic chiefs will thank the fire chiefs for the following thing. Thanks, guys, for showing up and cutting out the side of the house so we can get this patient out of the house. That's now.
Yeah.
When I say when you're Walmart, that's the people you can see. Now, I don't know how large the population of people is that will no longer fit through the door of their own home, but that's a percentage of people also. Now, you have to be really, really big before the paramedics can't get you through the door of your own home, and the firemen have to show up to cut out the side of the house. The paramedics have had to sell all their ambulances and gurneys and buy new ambulances and gurneys that have a 600-pound capacity. Plus.
Well, John, in our area here, they just had a thing in the newspaper with pictures of all the sheriff's deputies, the EMT, the ambulance people and all that.
Right.
You ought to see those photographs. You know what? The only fit-looking individuals with a highway patrol.
Well, the highway patrol is a whole different set of guys and gals. We got a caller in here, Kenny in Louisiana. Good morning, Kenny.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Go ahead.
Hello?
You're on the air. You're on the air. We're listening.
Hey, I've got a question about the energy cleaner. Now, my wife's had open heart surgery, 2 strokes. Because of the strokes, has fell and hurt her knee and stuff. If I got that, is there any chance of doing harm to her, or is it just going to do good? I've been talking to her about it. That's my question.
No, our only advice is we don't advise pregnant women to use it. Not that it would cause any harm, but it's just a smart thing. We've had people with heart transplants, defibrillators built into their chest, medical devices built into their body. It can cause no harm. It simply can't. And it will most likely help your wife with her pain issues. And you say it's a knee that's bothering her?
Yeah, knee, and then she just never really recovered from the open heart and the strokes, and kind of like you just talk about limps around and, just wakes up hurting and sleeping in pain and such as that.
Pain takes over your life, and it becomes the focus of your life. And pretty much everybody gets pain relief, Kenny. And I offer a 90-day money-back guarantee. Most people get relief within hours to 3 to 5 days at the most. So it can cause no harm. It can only help your wife.
Okay, well, I'll get off there and let y'all continue your conversation. I was just considering that, and I'm going, it's a good question. Thank you.
Thank you for the call, Kenny. Call number is 800-313-9443. Energy Cleaner is a healing device, puts out an electrostatic healing signal, goes to every cell in your body. You have billions of cells in your body, flushing out toxins, bringing in fresh nutrition, as Tom says, acts as a jump starter for the cells in your body. We focus on 2 things. Pain mitigation, it could be joint pain, arthritis pain, doesn't matter, back pain, and getting a great night's sleep. As my wife, Dr. Moore, used to say, when you sleep is when you heal. You cannot possibly heal if you're not getting good sleep. And between these 2 issues, pain issues and sleep issues, we're talking way more than half the adults in this country, aren't we, Tom?
Yes, we are, John. And the last caller, I think he mentioned a stroke. Did his wife also have a stroke? Is that what he said?
Yeah, I believe he did. Yes.
Yeah,
2 strokes.
And I have to,
2 strokes.
Right. If he's still listening, I do remember hearing back from several energy cleaner customers years ago. Several times I'd hear from people that had suffered a stroke, and just the rehab and getting through all of that and trying to get back to normal. Several of them had some very good results using the energy cleaner, and we don't know exactly how it helped them, but I really think it energized their body to reestablish the circuitry that was damaged by the stroke. And we are electrical beings. Every cell in our body is like a small battery and has connections to the body. It's also a pump. It has to push out toxins and pull in fresh nutrition to keep running. And so the energy cleaner does act as a set of jumper cables for those cells that are sluggish and toxic, and it helps them to get revitalized and start working again properly.
It does. In fact, I'm sitting on an energy cleaner pad right now doing this show, and I like to expose myself. Well, okay. I like to expose myself to the energy cleaner signal as much as I can. When I'm on a road trip, anything more than 2 hours, I will have the energy cleaner pad on the seat of my vehicle also. You'll get all the details at my website. The energy cleaner is for sale at my website at thelibertyman.com. There's a drop-down menu under products, and it's several down there. It looks like the about the 4th thing down, the energy cleaner. You can read up on it, the patent application details, read up on the mattress pads that go with it. We have mattress pads for twin-size beds, full, queen, king, California king, the handy travel size like what I'm sitting on right now. Everything's right there. I make it as easy as I can. You can use PayPal, MasterCard, Visa, send me a check. PayPal is great. When you use PayPal, you don't give up your credit card information. It stays safe and hidden from anybody. And I have a toll-free hour line 24 hours a day. 800-592-9543. I say again, 800-592-9543. Well, Tom, my sales are picking up. I got 5 energy cleaners from you, and I think they'll all be sold here in 3 or 4 days. So I'm going to need more. And so, as my grandson would say, get to work, Grandpa, get to work.
Yeah, and they're in constant production, John, and always working on them. So there'll be another batch next week, and we'll just keep plugging along the way we have been for nearly 20 years.
Absolutely. Well, I need to keep emphasizing the energy cleaner is not the silver bullet. If you're not willing to change, make dietary changes, lifestyle changes, eliminate tobacco products, and so forth, don't try to fool yourself by making the energy cleaner cure everything. Here's our break. We'll be right back.
It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. We here at RBN are working with Front Sight Firearms Training Institute to bring our audience the best in combat, tactical, and defensive firearms training. Whether you're a private citizen who is new to firearms, or you have a concealed weapon permit and want a level of training that surpasses what you've received from your local gun range, Front Sight provides priceless education and skills taught by seasoned law enforcement, military, and private citizen instructors to levels that far exceed law enforcement and military standard. With nearly 1 million responsible citizens trained from every town, city, and state from across the United States, Front Sight has bolstered the Patriot movement to a whole new level. Contact Dan Sutterfield by phone at 573-762-2356 or 573-465-2356 or shoot him an email at domedan, DOMEDAN, at hotmail.com. This is a limited time opportunity. Don't miss it.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Thursday, the 12th of September. Well, Tom, we keep plugging away here, waking people up, getting energy cleaners to them, helping them get their lives back. For the people involved in agriculture, helping them get larger and better fruits and vegetables or ornamental plants, if that's their thing. Helping their pets also. Cats and dogs. If you have an energy cleaner mattress pad plugged in, you better close your bedroom door, or your bed will have all the cats and dogs on top of it pretty quickly, won't it?
That's exactly what happens. The dogs will sometimes actually get into a brawl. They'll be fighting over who gets the best position on the energy cleaner pad. It's amazing, but I've seen it myself. And cats are the same way. They want to get up there and just lay right on that signal. For some reason, they sense it, and they seek it. And they'll spend a lot of their time there.
Right. We had an energy cleaner set up for our two dogs where they would sleep, and each had their own little doggy mattress. And before the energy cleaner, they would go outside and not come back all day long. With the energy cleaner, they would come in, get a 15-minute recharge on energy cleaner, and go out and chase squirrels and have a wonderful doggy life. It was really interesting to see that happen. But we've seen also dogs that have issues with pain and arthritis and could barely walk get their life back, too. We've seen that, haven't we, Tom?
Oh, yeah. That's true, John. We had a dog here, and he passed on at 18 years and 4 months. That dog was in pretty good health until the last couple of months of his life. He suffered from kidney failure, but it was amazing, and the veterinarian that took care of him even commented several times about how healthy that dog was for his age. They had never seen anything like it, and that dog had his own energy cleaner, and that's what made him live as long as he did. So it can help us people, too. We just have to get off the couch and start moving around and place your order. Try out the energy cleaner.
Right.
You offer that 90-day money-back guarantee. You can't beat that deal, John.
Well, and it's affordable. The complete package, energy cleaner, mattress pad, and travel pad, you're looking less than $500. That's in these days, when we're talking about what people spend on what pretends to be health care, that's an insignificant amount of money, isn't it?
That's a pittance, yes. You can go to a doctor's visit, and if you have insurance, you'll still end up with some sort of copay and then the medication. And that's an ongoing cost. Your ongoing cost with the energy cleaner is about $1 a month because you'll spend around $12 a year for the batteries. You do need to change the batteries once a year, and that's it. Otherwise, it runs 24/7. You don't have to worry about switching the thing on or off. It just runs all the time.
That's right. That's right. And if it needs maintenance, Tom Berryhill's the man to go to, right?
Yeah, that's right, John. I can repair or rebuild any of the energy cleaners that have been made all the way up to the first one. It'll be 20 years this next March that we've been producing these.
Well, it's become your life's work, and God bless you for doing so. We don't know how many lives you've saved. Tom, thank you. Have you back in the morning. Talk about emergency communications.
Thanks, John.
Top of the hour break, we'll be back with Steve Hunt, the John Moore Radio Show Economic Advisor. Stay tuned. All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. J.R. Moore here, our second hour on Thursday, the 12th of September. Prep tip of the day, I want to make sure all of you are current on your first aid training and CPR. If you haven't had training in either one for more than a year, the CPR has changed about a year and a half ago. First aid, well, it's always good to get an update and make sure you got supplies and equipment comparable to your skill sets. We have patient Wayne Greenman, my friend Steve Hunt. Steve is the John Moore Radio Show Economic Advisor. If you go to my website at thelibertyman.com, you'll see what looks like a Christmas package there, red with a gold bow on it. Just click on that, and you'll be at Steve's landing page for Swiss America. And you can, if you don't have internet access, just write down his telephone number and give Steve a call. He'd be glad to talk to you and mail you some nice publications. Steve's telephone number is 800-630-1491. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, John.
Well, sir, the speculation about a recession continues to be in the news, doesn't it, sir?
It's getting more and more rampant, isn't it?
It is. It is. President Trump is certainly aware of this, and he's doing what he can to mitigate and not have it happen. Hopefully, he will be successful. The powers that be, I believe, they will wreck the economy to have President Trump not be reelected. So it'll be fascinating to be on the sidelines watching this happen. In the meantime, your job and my job is to help you, but your job is to advise people how to be safe in case President Trump's not successful in stopping a recession. And that's what we're going to talk about, isn't it?
It sure is. But, and the part of the problem is it's just not the problems here in the United States that he's combating. It's all around the world. I mean, this thing with China, now Europe is wanting to get involved. I'm not sure if everybody's watching the news this early in the morning, but It's kind of like breaking news stuff is happening. First you go back to last Thursday and Friday, Alan Greenspan came out and said he expects the United States to have negative interest rates here very soon. Then yesterday, Trump made a comment on Twitter that he wanted Powell, the Fed chairman, to cut our rates to 0 or below. He said that it is time that we have to do this. Well, then overnight, early this morning for us, the European Central Bank just cut their rates 10 basis points and announced a quantitative easing, basically for infinity. They're going to keep this thing going.
Now, which country doing that?
The European Central Bank.
Oh, the European Central Bank.
ECB.
Okay.
European Central Bank just announced that they cut their rate by 10 basis points, which makes them have a negative interest rate of 0.5. So this is about to get out of hand. Trump immediately just came out this morning at 5:13 this morning, said European Central Bank is acting quickly, cuts rate 10 basis points. They're trying to succeed in depreciating the euro. They're hurting the U.S. exports, and the Fed sits and sits and sits. So, he's battling other countries. The Fed thinks they know what to do is best. Trump thinks, he knows what to do is best. There's so much going on right now that, it's not just about Democrats trying to get him removed and make him look bad, but all these other countries, they're so used to taking advantage of us and us having weaker leaders, and Trump's trying to combat that at the same time. He's just got a really full plate.
Well, he does have a full plate, and we can count on President Trump to come up with solutions and countermeasures that will most likely be effective, but we can't, these are massive issues and really big players doing what they do. Most of the men and women listening to this show, they're not big players. They don't have massive assets. They've got rather small assets compared to the dollar amounts we're talking about at the international level. And these are the people that we're talking to. These are the people that need help. These are the people that need to know how to protect what they've got, right, Steve?
Absolutely. It doesn't matter. We would be the biggest hypocrite in the world if we told everybody, as long as you have $100,000, you should protect yourself. That's not. There's no way that's what we're saying. It doesn't matter if you have $1,000 or $1 million. Protecting yourself means just that, insurance. It's a way to make sure that you have enough assets in case the dollar crashes, that you're not hurt by this whole thing, and that's all we're trying to do is get the word out. I mean, there's other ways you can do it as well. It doesn't have to be gold and silver. You can buy land. I mean, land is a huge thing for me. I love land. You can buy cattle, for crying out loud. I mean, there's so many different things you can do as long as you're buying an asset. You're protecting yourself.
Isn't that where the word stock came from initially? Stock is cattle and sheep and goats, and so the word we use with the term stock market and buying stocks. Isn't that the derivative of that terminology?
Cattle market. Yep.
That's what I thought.
Cattle market.
That's what I thought. Well, I'm in cattle country here, and I have very good friends that raise and sell cattle, and it's a business. And the largest cattle ranchers here, I think they've got, I think their herd runs around 1,100 head on several big parcels of real estate, and basically they work 7 days a week, running around repairing fences. They're doing veterinary work and rescuing cattle that get stuck in wherever they get stuck in, and it's a lot. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I wouldn't.
I grew up on a farm in Nebraska, John. I used to be able to do all that fun stuff myself.
Right. I've considered maybe getting a cow or maybe 2 cows so they wouldn't get lonely to raise for some beef myself, but I'm not. I mean, I'd have to get some fences fixed. I'd be on a telephone with my buddies that know what the hell they're doing once a day. How do I do this? What do I do now? Because I'm a city boy.
I urge you to look into it. What's funny about that you just say that is I just bought a cow for meat purposes. So You know, I don't trust the meat that's in the stores. I have a hard time trusting a lot of stuff like that. But, you know, the price per pound for getting your own cow, believe it or not, is considerably cheaper than going to the store.
Of course it is. And of course I get grass-fed beef from the people who live down the road. So I'm in pretty good shape there. I don't really need to buy my own cow and deal with all the things that cattle ranchers have to deal with. But Steve Hunt will help you figure out, gain the clarity and gain the focus that you need to determine what's best for you and your family. It's not one size fits all, is it, Steve?
Oh, never. Everybody's situation is extremely unique. So, we try to look at everything that's going on with your situation, where your finances are at, where your retirement account's at if you have one. If you don't have one, maybe you should look into maybe starting one if you need to have something like that started. There's so many different avenues you can go down. You really got to start with a phone call, really, to find out where you're sitting and what's best for you.
Absolutely. And that telephone number, if you want to call Steve Hunt, is 800-630-1491. Negative interest rates. How are they going to convince people to pay the bank money to keep their money when the bank is loaning it out at, 8, 10, 12% interest, depending on what they're loaning it for, a house or a car?
That's what's going to be very interesting with this is what are people going to do with their money? The funny thing is some of these banks are charging, for business accounts, they charge you, quite a bit to deposit money already. And people, individuals might not know this, but, the businesses like ours, people who come in and use cash, we have to deposit it. We pay a huge fee for depositing cash already. And it's already started here.
A percentage or a flat fee?
It's a percentage.
Oh, boy. So, that adds up.
Yeah, so we've kind of tried to lead away from doing cash because it's a big deal for us. So, eventually people are going to say, well, I'm going to keep this cash in my house, but then, how safe are you having pieces of paper that, let's be honest, it's so many bad things can happen to a piece of paper. For God forbid your house, have a fire, you lose everything. It's not like metal where the worst case scenario with gold and silver is it just melts down into a different bar. That's the worst that can happen. You can't burn it away. So, paper is going to be very dangerous, and on top of that, at some point, you're going to have to deposit it, and whether it's next year or 5 years from now to be able to use it to pay your bills, and now you got to worry about how much you can deposit it because now there's going to be different reporting laws and different things that are going to happen because you've been storing cash. People don't realize that if you go to the bank and you deposit so much money, they make you file a form, CTR 8300 form. There's so many rules and restrictions with cash these days. It's ridiculous that we're being hounded with our own money.
Well, the concept is that these rules coming out of the Patriot Act will somehow hinder international terrorists who have training and funding from foreign governments, the full financial and logistical help from an entire government. I think that's a fantasy, that somehow this will thwart the efforts of drug cartels, which have larger assets than some countries themselves. That's a fantasy. It does cause inconvenience and harm to John and Jane Sixpack around this country, conducting normal business and normal transactions. That's the only harm it does. It does not hurt the international terrorists backed by countries, the drug cartels, which have the assets of small countries. It only causes harm to the average guy and gal, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. That's the problem. There was no reporting problem when Obama gave $1.6 billion in cash to Iran. His last couple of weeks in office. Nothing got filed there. So
we're talking physical cash, $100 bills shrink wrapped on 4x4 foot pallets. Right.
It's crazy to think about that kind of thing, but you or I go into the bank with $10,000 and God forbid, here's a bunch of forms to file for yourself. So,
Oh, it's even worse than that. If you go in one day with $2,000, a couple of days later with $3,000, and a day or two after that with a couple of thousand, and it adds up.
That's
over.
Structuring, yeah.
It's called structuring,
and now the IRS is coming to knock on your door.
So you're, and if you don't fill out the form, you're violating the law anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
It is crazy. It's insane. Buying and owning, physically possessing physical gold coins, physical silver coins in a safe, secure location. It's private. It's between, it's just private. And it's peace of mind. And it's been peace of mind for people for at least 5,000 years that we know of, right, Steve?
Well, as long as, yeah, you're exactly right. As long as there's ever been a record of it. I mean, gold has been a value of wealth. It's insurance. I mean, you've never, ever seen a time in history where gold has been worth zero.
No, not at all. And that day is not going to happen. And that's what we're selling here. We're selling peace of mind. Another form of insurance. A form of insurance that is a lot more fun than a stack of canceled checks for your automobile insurance or your homeowner's insurance, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, exactly that's the thing that people really need to wrap their minds around more than anything is, you've insured everything of wealth in your life. You insure your house, your car, even your health, and the money that you have. I mean, you have FDIC insurance of it in the bank. But the problem is there is no insurance if the dollar crashes and goes down by 50% or 70%. There's nothing that's going to protect you from that. So, this is your form of insurance.
It is. Now, let's talk about the publications that people can get if they call you or submit this form on the Internet. The War Against Economic Freedom and the Secret War on Cash. And you'll throw in one or two others along with those, won't you, Steve?
I've got probably about 7 or 8 different publications I can send you, as well as articles. If you guys don't have internet access, I'm more than happy to send you some of these articles that are online that, are talking about what's happening. You just have to let me know what you're looking for. And once again, every situation is different. Maybe, this isn't what's pertaining to you. Maybe you're more interested in retirement accounts, or you have a old retirement account that you inherited. I mean, there's so many different avenues that's involved in your investment. Just let me know what it is that we need to do, and I'll send it over to you.
Right. Now the aviators in World War II, they had a survival kit that was sealed up like a sardine can. They were told never to ever open it unless you crash. Well, that was because there was a gold sovereign in there, a gold coin that they could be in the most remote part of Asia or Africa or wherever it might be. And the locals would know instantly what they're looking at and would use that, accept that as payment to help the downed pilot be rescued. So it doesn't matter where on the planet you are. The most remote village in Africa or the jungles of Borneo, gold is recognized universally as having value, isn't it?
Well, of course. I mean, every country mines for it. Every country tries to buy it. Every country tries to buy it, to protect their currency. I mean, it's the most valuable thing on the planet. So, everywhere you go, it's not like a devalued piece of paper that you have to worry about, what's my dollar worth in this country. Every country sees it as the most valuable thing they can have. So it's exactly that. It's value.
It is value. It's recognized value. It's stored up value for yourself, your children, grandchildren, maybe even great-great-grandchildren. Why not? And peace of mind. I keep emphasizing peace of mind. Just knowing that you have it as a hedge against what an unknown future may bring us. We hope for the best, and the best would be Donald Trump being reelected and no recession. That would be the best. There's a new film coming out. It's meant primarily for Christian audiences. The title of it is The Reliant. It's being released in the movie theaters for one day next month in October. And it has to do, Steve, with a fast-moving economic crisis and the consequences of that. Yes. The title of the film is The Reliant. And I fully intend to watch it myself, and we'll see if we can get it for movie night here in Davisville. Here's our break. We'll be right back.
As a listener of RBN, you're surely concerned about being informed and being ready for whatever may come. Please consider the following questionnaire as a soul-jarring wake-up call. If you answer no to more than 2 of these following questions, you probably aren't going to make it through any major disruption in our country. The questions were compiled by people that have been there. Are you really ready? Do you own your own firearm for the primary defense and protection of you and your loved ones? Have you ever been professionally trained to stand against life-threatening behavior? Have you ever practiced enough to fire 500 rounds during a 2 to 4 day time frame, day and night? Can you load, unload, fire, and clear a jam in total darkness? Have all the adults in your household been professionally trained? Are you, life and death, comfortable with your abilities with pistol, revolver, shotgun, and rifle? Are you aware that everything that you do to prepare for an emergency is a waste of time, money, and energy? If you haven't honed your abilities to their highest level to protect and keep what you have? Do you have the repair parts that will most likely be needed for each of your firearm, and do you have the ability to install those parts? Could you completely clean every firearm you own? Are you aware that your body won't go where your mind hasn't been? In other words, without proper training, followed by regular practice, you probably will not win a gunfight. Well, how did you measure up? Take the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to start correcting your deficiencies by receiving your Commander Lifetime Membership with Front Sight Firearms Training Facility. A one-time donation to RBN for $500 will give you a Commander Lifetime Membership at Front Sight as a tremendously huge thank you bonus. See details on RBN's webpage to make it happen. The clock is ticking. You had better be ready before it happens.
Republic Broadcasting Network depends on listener support of our advertisers and of our sponsors. We'd like to especially thank all of you who have taken advantage of our fundraiser with Front Sight Bonus. Those who are now Front Sight members, please train as soon as possible for your sake and for that of our nation. And please consider sharing your training and what you've learned when you arrive home. Republic Broadcasting Network has to stop promoting this fundraiser on air and on the website in just a few days. Dr. Ignatius Piazza, president of Front Sight, made a gracious exception to his no media rule for us at Republic Broadcasting Network. Thank you, Dr. Piazza. And once you've been to Front Sight, feel free to call your favorite host and share your experience on the air. We can continue this fundraiser without media help, but it'll be totally up to the listeners to spread the information. Please call Dan Sutterfield in Missouri at 573-465-2356, 573-465-2356. That's 573-465-2356.
All right, we are back. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. J.R. Moore here on Thursday, the 12th of September. We're going on a cruise. You and your significant other will have a romantic time. You'll have a fun time. You'll have lots of opportunities to have lengthy conversations with myself and Leon Green talking about the things that we talk about, but in more detail than we ever possibly could on a radio show. Details are at my website at thelibertyman.com. We leave Florida Saturday the 9th of February, return a week later the 16th. If you don't have internet access, give our cruise director a call. That's Betsy Murphy, our cruise director. Here's her telephone number, 636-530-9502. I say again, 636-530-9502. Visiting with Steve Hunt. Steve is the John Moore radio show economic advisor. He stays on top of this stuff. That's just how he makes his living. It's his passion. He loves getting on top of what's going on with the world economy, with the national economy, so that he can give the the greatest and best information and advice to his customers, his clients that want the best and most current information so they can make good decisions based on sound information. And that's what you do, Steve. You give people advice based on the sound information, don't you, sir?
Well, that's just it. We try to find the truth in everything that's going on online and on the news, and there's so much swaying of the public right now on different news stations of what's going on, and you just got to look at all the news articles, and you got to try and weed through everything and find out what's really happening. I mean, there's a rumor online right now that Trump might be making as a response to this European bank move, a temporary agreement with China that will kind of give them a little bit of a trade deal while they negotiate further. There's who knows if it's accurate or not, but it's a rumor that's circulated online this morning. So, that's going to boost the markets a little bit, to give you an artificial high in the stock market, but it's a short-term deal. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, and that's so he can battle Europe now because Europe's trying to hurt the U.S. dollar. So, you've got to really look at so many different scenarios and say, how is this going to affect me? But it's like you said earlier, it's you have to pray for the best, and we hope for the best, but we prepare for the worst. And this is something that you put some type of money into. It doesn't have to be a lot into it, but it's just enough to give you peace of mind. You put it away. You hope you never need it. If you do need it, it's there for you. If not, the best thing is that you don't have to touch it, and gold continues to increase every year. You look at, there hasn't been bad years every year since 2000, but gold's still up 400%. So, it's going to keep its increase. Gold doesn't go to zero. It's always going to be there for you.
Right. Well, of course, the value of the gold isn't changing. What's changing is the value of the paper dollars attempting to purchase the gold. And that's a very recognizable evidence of paper money not holding value, isn't it?
Well, that's exactly it. It's just the dollar has been devalued so much over the past 30 years that people don't realize, how much, you're spending in the store. I mean, everybody that shops for groceries, I mean, I'm sure you can think back 20, 30 years and you remember what you spent for the same foods. I mean, it's not like you're eating 3 times more. You're just spending 3 times more. And it's just because the dollar has weakened so much. You've got to find a way to combat inflation, and that's the only thing you can do is just, do your best.
Right. My first job out of high school, Steve, my paycheck was $110 a week. I could go to a Ford dealer and buy an okay used Ford automobile for $100. Wow. I'm serious. It would have been a car maybe 10 to 12 years old on the back side of the lot on a real Ford dealer, not Honest Abe's used car lot, but a genuine Ford Motor Company automobile dealership. That's how much things have changed in half a century. Believe it or not.
Well, I mean, I think one of the cheapest trucks you can get now from Ford is $50,000 or $60,000. I mean, it's insane what these prices are for vehicles now. It's everything has just gone under control.
It has, and I have, being my age, I have the advantage of hindsight because I've lived these things and not just read about them. And I can recall when a gold Krugerrand was maybe $300 for a gold Krugerrand, a 1 ounce gold coin, which is now what, $1,200? What's it worth?
$1,600.
$1,600. Well, I'm behind the times already. So.
Yep. No, I have a client that I just talked to the other day who bought the same Krugerrands for $75 back in the day. And she still has it.
There you go.
And she just called in, and she's terrified because she's seeing the same things that she said she saw in 87 and 2008, and she goes, it's time for me to do the same thing again and get out $1. And I'm like, it's funny when you talk to somebody who's lived through all these different scenarios. Right. And they've been buying it for all this time, and I've never talked to them until now. And they recognize it. They see what's happening.
Right. Well, experience makes a big difference. Steve, thank you, sir.
Sure.
Back Thursday. Appreciate it.
I look forward to it. Bye.
Okay, thank you. We got a bottom of the hour break. We'll be back with open lines.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We have a special promotion going on at Republic Broadcasting. This is a fundraiser for Republic Broadcasting involving the energy cleaner. Mail me a postcard. My address is at my website at thelibertyman.com. We pick a postcard every other Thursday. When your postcard is drawn out, you get to buy an energy cleaner for $215 instead of $285, $70 discount. $200 goes to Republic Broadcasting. You also get a 10% discount on my mattress pads. So get those postcards in, put your name, your telephone number, your email address on there, and when your postcard is drawn, you get to get an energy cleaner for $215 instead of $285. Mattress pads, 10% off. Help us out at Republic Broadcasting and help yourself to get an energy cleaner at a deep discount. It's a win-win situation for everybody. We hope you can get these postcards in soon. Thank you very much. Okay, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Thursday, the 12th of September. We talked about the energy cleaner for 24 minutes last hour. I don't need to repeat that. Just to advise you to check out the energy cleaner at my website. And if you're really tired of being tired, if you're tired of the pain, make your decision. Get yourself an energy cleaner and a mattress pad. You'll be very glad you did. The men I'm in touch with privately are very concerned, men and women both, very concerned about what may very well happen 13 months from now. My friend Dave Hodges, he's been writing extensively about this for a number of years. He refers to it as a Red Dawn invasion. There's been two Hollywood productions titled Red Dawn, two Hollywood films. Red Dawn is not just the name of Hollywood movies. It's also an official Pentagon war scenario, which basically follows the same premise as the two Hollywood films. The secret invasions of the United States by foreign powers. We are the target. We are the prize. Once the United States goes down, everything else will be a piece of cake. There's no entity on the planet that can oppose Russia's and China's military might other than the United States. And can we resist it? Well, good question. Donald Trump is rebuilding our military. I was so happy earlier this year to see a new order of F-15s, the latest, greatest model of the F-15s, which you can fly in the rain, which the F-35 can't fly in the rain. F-16s have issues flying in the rain, too, in case you don't know it. I'm here to tell you. It's a great aircraft made in St. Louis. We're never weaker than we will be right now. Despite all the things that President Trump's doing, it takes a while to rebuild a military that's been decimated by two Bushes, one Clinton, and one Obama. It takes a while to get it back up to speed. Given another 4 years, which he will get, the military, our U.S. military will be well on the way to being a force that can withstand the Russians and Chinese onslaught. Our enemies know that. They know that we'll never be weaker than we are now. They know that each passing month we're stronger. That's why they have their plan to pull off their Red Dawn invasion, I believe, just after the November 2020 elections. Could be before that, could be later, I don't know. May not happen at all. Making predictions about the future is risky business. That's why I throw those caveats in there. I can't say with certainty that these things will happen. I can say there's a high likelihood that they will. There's also a high likelihood that President Trump will put in place what needs to be put in place to stop it with promises and threats. we're looking at a large number of countries against us, all countries south of our border. I repeat, all countries south of our border are somehow involved. You need to educate yourself on this and make your own preparations. We've got a caller on hold here. We've got Ty in Texas. Good morning, Ty.
Good morning, John. Quick reminder for you, and then the question that I called in about. I know life got real busy for you, and so you probably haven't had a good chance to do this, but get it on your list to check out the book by the author Robert Patrick Lewis. I hope my memory's serving me there. The title of the book is The Pact. Papa Alpha Charlie Tango, The Pact.
Okay.
It basically is right in line with what you're talking about here, Red Dawn scenario fiction. The author's a retired Green Beret, and the book's quite interesting. I think you'll enjoy it.
What's Mr. Lewis's first name again?
Robert Patrick Lewis, if my memory is serving.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll definitely...
It's actually a two-part book. He's got that and then part two.
Okay, so it's a two... Go ahead.
Yeah. Yes. It is two. It's a series that's ended with part two. I think he's thinking about a third part. But anyway, the question I had for you, John, would you be suited to engage in an informative discussion on the subject of setting up home security surveillance?
Well, I do private consultations, if that's the question. Yes, of course I do. Yeah.
I was thinking more along the lines of how you hit some of the other things that you're so well versed in, just for the listeners and myself.
Okay. You mean discussing that live on the air? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, and I don't mean pulling that out of your hat right this second. Just at some point in the future, if you find that you think that might be a fit, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
Well, we can begin a discussion right now. It's been part of my life for so many decades. I don't really need to be doing homework on it. Yeah. Well, first of all, if a husband and wife and their children think that they can buy their 10 or 20 or 40 acres and stand off the world, that's wrong. That's a prescription for failure, or maybe even several families together. That's a prescription for failure. The neighborhood needs to be involved. And that's what we're doing here in Crawford County. The whole neighborhood, not the whole neighborhood, but a lot of the neighborhoods involved in preparedness and getting ready for what might be coming at us. And neighbors helping neighbors. That's what happens in the country. Neighbors knowing neighbors, and so that's the first step, is to get as many neighbors as possible involved. And you won't get all the neighbors involved. That's a fantasy, but some neighbors involved in preparedness. That's number one. Number two is skills. Everybody on your team, and you have to have a team, of course. Hopefully be more than a husband and wife, maybe some siblings, adult children. Ideally, at least 12 adults would be a good-sized team, all of whom have training in first aid, all of whom have training in CPR, all of whom have training in ham radio, and of course, training in the proper and safe use of firearms. That's a beginning point.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to over.
Well, you need as far as the homestead needs a perimeter. It's probably going to be a 5-strand cap.
I would think home surveillance, like security cameras.
Well, that's off the shelf now. The big box stores like Best Buy and Amazon, you can buy very sophisticated video surveillance for not much money. You want motion activated. You want nighttime infrared capability, of course. But in addition to the video cameras, motion-sensitive video cameras, dogs are excellent. A dog that will bark when there's human beings present and not bark at every time a squirrel runs across the yard, and alert you to when there's humans in the area is a really good thing. And, of course, people need to back this up. You can't just have robotic video equipment doing this. You have to have trained, equipped people that can respond when a response is necessary. so those are beginning points there. And I started to mention a perimeter. You need a perimeter fence that is good and tight. You're going to want an inner perimeter around whatever structure. Typically, the homestead will have one or two homes, a garage, a barn, maybe some other outbuildings, and you want a second perimeter fence around that critical infrastructure. And you may even go, if you got the time and the money, two perimeter fences, one farther out, maybe 100 yards from the inner perimeter, and then the inner perimeter fence that is just protecting that innermost critical infrastructure of houses, outbuildings, and barns. And of course, good lights that can be turned on. Solar-powered lights would be good. Night vision is not optional these days. If somebody's determined and knows what they're doing, they're going to attack at night, not during daylight hours. And almost half of every day is nighttime. So good quality night vision is not optional there, Ty.
Yeah, roger that, sir. Thank you very much for taking a little sidetrack off where we were at here a few minutes ago.
That's okay. Day. It's worthwhile. It's worthwhile. Thank you for the call. The call number is 800-313-9443. I've always been a big believer in multiple perimeter defenses and what's called a layered defense. I do a similar thing with my bodyguard assignments. If it's a really important person like Ambassador Alan Keyes or my president Charlton Heston, I have a layered defense to protect the executive, the personality from any harm. It takes time and money to put these things together. No doubt whatsoever. It takes time and money. Video equipment has become very sophisticated and very inexpensive. And there's no excuse for not having it. We've got it here at my place. Motion-activated video cameras that can be monitored from the internet, any place on the planet where you got internet access. It's just a smart thing to do these days. It's become so inexpensive and so sophisticated. There's no excuse for not having it anymore. The days of expensive video equipment are gone. They really are. And easily installed by most men and women who have the ability to use common hand tools. This is not a sophisticated matter. It takes a lot of technical know-how to set this stuff up. It's pretty much plug and play these days. You may need some help doing the internet connection part of it, depending on your expertise. But there's lots of people that can set that up for you as well. Will you need it? Well, the most common crime in the country when I started work as a criminal investigator in 1973 was property crime. It's still the most common. Men, typically between 18 and 30 years old, they wake up at the crack of noon, start drinking and taking their drugs of choice. Later in the day, they go out to steal so they can have things to sell to keep their drug habit and alcohol habit taken care of. Pass out about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning after having a fun-filled night with alcohol and drugs, and wake up at noon the next day to repeat. That's their lifestyle until they either die or they're incarcerated for a long, long time. That's the profile. And there's no getting away from that. That's just life in the country. Life in the city is similar but different. There's always issues with crime no matter where you live. Crime is an issue any place and every place in every country. Obviously, some countries have more issues with that than others. But getting back to the premise of 13 months, that will fly by. That will fly by. We've got 3 months left in this year, plus the little right at 3 weeks, not quite 3 weeks left in this month. It'll be 2020 in less than 4 months. It'll be November 2020 in 13 months. And I just have to keep emphasizing how quickly this time will pass. And you need to set priorities. What are the priorities? Getting in physical condition. That is not optional. That is not optional. Of course, it involves the energy cleaner. Getting the skill sets, ham radio skills, first aid training, CPR training, firearms training, hand-to-hand combat, cross-country land navigation, using a map and compass to go cross-country. Lots of skills to be learned and not much time to learn them. You have a limited budget? Well, what can you do? Rice and beans don't cost much. You can get your hands on 2-liter soda bottles, rinse them out properly, and fill them with water for water storage. Even homeless people can do that, can't they? Get their hands on 2-liter soda bottles. They have a monthly check for their what's in my friend who worked with Family Services in Arkansas, they call it the crazy check. These people have income. They can buy rice and beans. Rice and beans provides all the essential amino acids, vitamins, and minerals, and protein, except for vitamin C. It may be a boring diet, but it'll keep you alive. Get some fresh fruits and vegetables in there to get your vitamin C, and you're pretty much good to go. So no matter what your budget, you can store up your water in 2-liter bottles, get some extra bags of rice and beans, and get ready within your own capability. That's the important part, to get ready within your own capability. I still have that first case of Mountain House freeze-dried food I bought shortly after my daughter was born in 1974. I still have it. It's in great condition, and it will be until it's ever needed. 6 number 10 cans of Mountain House food, freeze-dried Mountain House food. Properly stored, make sure the cans don't rust. That's all that's necessary. I'm not saying that we will have civil disorder and a Red Dawn invasion in 13 months. I'm saying my sources are telling me it's a high likelihood. And that's good enough for me. I've got my own priorities. I've been at this since 1974, when my daughter was born. So I've been at this a long time. So my priorities are going to be different than your priorities. My preparations are going to be different than your preparations. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You need to figure out what's right for you and your family. That's your assignment, to figure out what's right for you and your family. Pray about it. Prayer is powerful. To disregard the power of prayer, well, you do so at your own peril. You really do. You do so at your own peril. And the time to get started is yesterday. It's past time. It's past time. You can get first aid training. Your local fire department puts on first aid training. Hospitals put on first aid training. Junior colleges put on first aid training. There's lots of places to get first aid training. CPR, the same thing. Red Cross puts on both kinds of training, first aid and CPR. Your local ham radio club will help you understand what ham radio is, how it works, and how to get your license. Your local gun range, you can probably find some professional quality entry-level training there at your local gun range to handle properly and safely handle rifles, shotguns, pistols. Then you might want to go on to Front Sight or to Freedom Center USA here in Missouri for more advanced training. Here's our last break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcast. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. J.R. Moore here on Thursday, the 12th of September. I want to publicly thank Ty in Texas. I just looked up the trilogy titled The Pact by Robert Patrick Lewis. I can get it at no charge on my Kindle, so I will probably do that before the day is over. Am I on the air? I hear this music still playing. There we go. That's okay. It says here in the synopsis of the book, hailed as Red Dawn with a modern special operations twist, so realistic and plausible that it's terrifying, on the edge of your seat thriller that will have you looking in your rearview mirror for enemy troops. So it sounds like a kind of a fun trilogy of books to read, and I read fiction and nonfiction, so thank you, Ty, for that referral there. I'll be working on my range. It's been too hot. Taking care of my wife this past year and a half. Nothing's been done on the range. We've got trees 3 inches in diameter growing up there where it should be grass. So I'll be cutting down the trees, getting my friend Dan Sutterfield in here with a backhoe to do some work on the range, getting either a new vinyl tarp up or building something more permanent with galvanized steel for a overhead shade. Being on that range in direct sunshine in summertime is I can promise you, not fun. But with shade and a breeze blowing, it becomes very tolerable. So that work will probably begin in a week or so. I think today's the really last above 90-degree day that we'll have this year. At least I hope so, seeing as how we're near the end of the second week of September. And we'll get down to some more reasonable temperatures for outside work. And so I'm looking forward to getting my rifle range back in shape. It's a very fun thing to do, to have it all squared away and in good shape. And it's a very nice place to spend an hour or so at the end of the day and just relax and enjoy nature under the sunshade there. As the sun's going down, I have a cordless phone with me. I can just relax and think about the day that I just experienced and plan for the day ahead. Very, very nice to be able to do that, and I thoroughly enjoy it. Tomorrow we'll have Tom Berryhill with us talking about emergency communications first hour. The second hour we'll have Dr. Lynn Wilbert talking about health-related matters, wrapping up the week. When we talk about emergency communications, we're trying to get your attention. We talk about health, we're trying to get your attention. Good health is not optional. You don't have your health, you don't have anything. I know people who have very substantial financial wherewithal. They don't have their health. They really don't have a life. They really don't, despite having substantial financial wherewithal. So pay attention. And if you have health issues, we'll help you deal with them. That's it for the day. Get your medical supplies, your engine cleaning, your essential oils now while you can, your firearms ammunition. Never ever grip your guns. Please do a fun, safe, productive day. God bless America.